The massive holographic display at the heart of Earth Defense Command lit up like a Christmas tree. Dr. Sarah Chen dropped her coffee mug, barely registering the hot liquid splashing across her boots. The sensor readings couldn't be right. The void between Mars and Jupiter had suddenly filled with hundreds of objects, each larger than the biggest ships humanity had ever built. Multiple contacts, emerging from what appears to be artificial wormholes, announced Captain Miguel Torres, his voice steady despite the implications. Energy signatures unlike anything in our database. They're arranging themselves in attack formation. Sarah's fingers flew across her quantum interface terminal, confirming what the sensors revealed. After 15 years of developing Earth's resonance shield project, she had hoped never to see it tested against real threats. The shield, an invisible web of quantum-entangled particles surrounding Earth, represented humanity's greatest technological achievement. But would it be enough? Admiral Helena Wagner strode into the command center, her cybernetic eye glowing as it processed the tactical data. Dr. Chen, status of the resonance shield. Operating at full capacity, Admiral. All quantum nodes synchronized and responsive. Sarah pulled up detailed diagnostics on her screen. The shield's neural network is already analyzing the alien vessel's energy signatures. The largest ship in the alien fleet, a behemoth that dwarfed aircraft carriers, moved to the center of their formation. Moments later, every communication device on Earth received the same transmission. The being that appeared on screens worldwide looked almost crystalline, with iridescent scales and multiple sets of eyes arranged in geometric patterns. People of Earth, I am Grand Marshal Vex Thor of the Stellar Kingdom. Your world has been chosen for integration into our empire. Your primitive defenses cannot hope to match our power. Surrender now, and we will be merciful. Admiral Wagner's laugh was cold enough to freeze nitrogen. Primitive, are we? Dr. Chen, would you care to demonstrate why they might want to reconsider that assessment? Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The aliens had no idea that every word they transmitted, every energy pulse their ships emitted, was teaching Earth's defensive AI more about their technology. The resonance shield didn't just block attacks, it learned from them. The first shot from the alien fleet came without warning. A lance of purple energy, hot enough to rival the surface of the sun, streaked toward Seattle. Sarah held her breath, watching the shield's response on her quantum displays. The beam struck the invisible barrier, and something beautiful happened. The shield didn't just stop the attack. It absorbed the energy, analyzed its pattern, and adapted its entire structure in response. The purple beam scattered into harmless light, creating an aurora that danced across the Pacific Northwest. Shield efficiency increased by 15%, Sarah reported, unable to keep the pride from her voice. The AI has cataloged their weapons' frequency and will be even more effective against similar attacks. Admiral Wagner opened a channel to the alien flagship. Grand Marshal Vex Thor, this is Admiral Helena Wagner of Earth Defense Command. Perhaps we should discuss terms that don't involve surrender from either side. The alien leader's response came in the form of a full barrage. Hundreds of energy weapons fired simultaneously, lighting up Earth's atmosphere like a second sun. The resonance shield caught every blast, its quantum matrix growing stronger with each impact. In the command center, Sarah watched in satisfaction as her life's work proved its worth. Their weapons are based on quantum destabilization, she explained to the Admiral. They probably expected our shield to shatter under the first hit. Instead, we're using their own quantum principles against them. Every attack makes us stronger. The alien fleet fell silent after their barrage failed. On the main screen, Grand Marshal Vex Thor's crystalline features showed what might have been confusion. Impossible. Your species has barely reached your own moon. You cannot possess this level of quantum manipulation. And yet here we are. Admiral Wagner replied. Now, shall we discuss those terms? But the Stellar Kingdom hadn't become a galactic power by accepting defeat easily. Sarah's instruments detected massive power buildups across their fleet. Admiral, they're preparing something big. Energy readings are off the charts. Let them come, Wagner said calmly. Dr. Chen, how many attacks will it take before your shield can start sending their energy back to them? Sarah's fingers danced across her interface, running calculations. 3, maybe 4 more barrages. The AI is already mapping their entire weapon spectrum. As the alien fleet prepared their next assault, Sarah felt a surge of pride in human ingenuity. The Stellar Kingdom had expected to find a primitive civilization ready for conquest. Instead, they had discovered that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in building bigger weapons. It was in turning an aggressor's power against itself. The next wave of attacks would tell if humanity's defensive innovation would be enough to change the galaxy's balance of power forever. But one thing was already clear. The age of conquest through superior firepower was about to end. The Stellar Kingdom's second wave of attacks began at dawn. Dr. Sarah Chen hadn't left the Earth Defense Command Center for 36 hours, surviving on synthetic caffeine and determination. The holographic display showed the alien fleet splitting into 3 battle groups, each taking position at strategic points around Earth's orbit. They're targeting the shield's resonance nodes, Captain Torres reported, highlighting critical points on the tactical display. Multiple energy signatures detected. They're trying different weapon frequencies. Sarah nodded, dark eyes fixed on the quantum readouts. The resonant shield's AI was processing the new threat patterns faster than any human could analyze them. They're learning, but so are we. Look at these adaptation rates. The first group launched what appeared to be solid projectiles. Massive tungsten rods accelerated to near-relativistic speeds. But as they approached Earth's atmosphere, the shield responded in a new way. Instead of attempting to block the physical objects, it created quantum disruption fields that literally unraveled their atomic structure. Admiral Wagner watched from her command station, her cybernetic eye tracking multiple data streams. Dr. Chen, explain what we're seeing. The shield's AI recognized that these weapons were too massive to deflect conventionally. Sarah explained, pride evident in her voice. So it developed a way to break down their molecular bonds using principles it learned from their own energy weapons. The Stellar Kingdom just taught us how to perform matter manipulation at a quantum level. The second battle group unleashed what their sensors identified as graviton beams, weapons designed to create localized singularities that would tear through any conventional defense. The shield flickered visibly for the first time, straining against the gravitational distortions. Shield stress at 60% in affected sectors, Torres reported, tension creeping into his voice. The AI is having trouble compensating for the space-time distortions. Sarah's fingers flew across her interface, making minute adjustments to the quantum matrix. Give it time. Every second we hold out is another second the AI learns. True to her words, the shield's response began to change. The graviton beam's effects started to diminish as the AI learned to match and cancel out their gravitational frequencies. The third group of alien ships had held their position, seemingly observing. Now they moved forward in perfect formation. Energy spike detected, Torres called out. It's their flagship. They're charging something massive. Grand Marshal Vexthor's voice crackled through their communications. Your defensive innovation is impressive, but no shield can withstand the full power of a stellar core. Surrender now, or we will be forced to demonstrate why the Stellar Kingdom rules 1,000 worlds. Admiral Wagner's response was cut off by alarms blaring throughout the command center. The alien flagship had opened what appeared to be massive ports along its hull, revealing a pulsing core of contained plasma that rivaled the brightness of a small star. They're using an actual stellar fragment as a weapon. Sarah breathed, both horrified and fascinated. The energy readings are comparable to a solar flare. She turned to Admiral Wagner. If that hits us at full power, I don't know if the shield can hold. But Wagner's expression remained calm. You said every attack makes us stronger. What have we learned from their previous attempts? Sarah's eyes widened as she understood. Pulling up the shield's adaptive algorithms, she saw that the AI had been doing more than just defending. It had been building a comprehensive model of the Stellar Kingdom's quantum technology. Every weapon they used operated on similar principles, just at different scales. "Captain Torres, get me a direct channel to Grand Marshal Vex Thor," Sarah called out. When the crystalline alien appeared on screen, she stepped forward. "Before you fire that weapon, you should know something about our shield. It doesn't just stop attacks, it understands them. And right now, it understands your technology better than you understand ours." The alien leader's geometric eyes shifted in what might have been concern. "Explain." "Your weapons all manipulate quantum fields to achieve their effects. Our shield doesn't just block those manipulations, it learns from them. That stellar core weapon. The moment you fire it, our eye will gain a complete understanding of how you contain and control stellar matter. Is that knowledge you want us to have?" For several tense moments, the command center was silent except for the hum of equipment. Finally, Vex Thor spoke. "You are bluffing. No defensive system can learn and adapt at such a rate." Sarah smiled. "Would you like to test that theory? Or should we discuss how humanity might share our defensive innovations in exchange for peaceful cooperation?" The alien flagship's weapon ports began to close, its contained star dimming. But Sarah knew this wasn't over. The Stellar Kingdom hadn't maintained its empire by backing down easily. They would try something else, something they thought humanity couldn't possibly defend against. And when they did, Earth would be ready. Because with every failed attack, humanity's understanding of the galaxy's most advanced technology grew. The shield wasn't just protecting Earth, it was giving humanity a crash course in cosmic evolution. As if reading her thoughts, Admiral Wagner spoke quietly. "They'll be back with something bigger, won't they?" Sarah nodded, already reviewing the data they'd gathered from the latest attacks. "Yes, but thanks to their demonstration, we'll be bigger too." Sarah Chen stared at the simulation results on her quantum terminal, hardly daring to believe what she was seeing. After 3 days of constant attacks from the Stellar Kingdom's fleet, Earth's resonant shield hadn't just survived, it had evolved. The AI's defensive matrices had begun exhibiting behaviors that shouldn't have been possible. "Admiral Wagner, you need to see this," she called out, transferring the data to the main holographic display. The command center's lights dimmed as a complex web of quantum interactions filled the air. The shield isn't just learning their weapons technology anymore. It's starting to predict it. Wagner's cybernetic eye whirred as it processed the data. "Precognitive defense. How is that possible?" "Not exactly precognition," Sarah explained, highlighting specific patterns in the quantum web. "The AI has mapped the fundamental principles behind all Stellar Kingdom technology. It can now calculate the most probable forms their weapons will take before they're even deployed." Captain Torres interrupted with urgent news. Multiple ships emerging from wormholes. The Stellar Kingdoms brought reinforcements, and something else. The tactical display shifted to show a massive construct emerging into real space, dwarfing even the flagship. Its crystalline surface seemed to bend light itself, making it difficult to focus on directly. The Stellar Forge, Grand Marshal Vex Thor's voice, filled the command center without warning. "Our greatest achievement. A mobile weapons platform that can reshape reality itself. Your shield may have adapted to our conventional weapons, but nothing can defend against the fundamental rewriting of space-time." Sarah's fingers flew across her interface, analyzing the new threat. The quantum readings from the Stellar Forge were unlike anything they'd seen, a chaotic maelstrom of reality-warping energies that seemed to defy the laws of physics themselves. But something about the readings tugged at her memory. She pulled up the shield's accumulated data from previous attacks, comparing energy signatures. "They're not rewriting reality," she muttered, then louder. "They're accessing parallel dimensions. The same quantum principles our shield uses to adapt, just weaponized on a massive scale." Admiral Wagner leaned forward. "Can we defend against it?" "Better," Sarah replied, a plan forming in her mind. "Remember how I said the shield was learning their technology? What if we could do more than just defend? What if we could redirect their own dimensional energies back at them?" The command center erupted into action as Sarah outlined her plan. It was audacious, perhaps even reckless, but it might be humanity's best chance. They would need to modify the shield's quantum matrix in ways never attempted before, essentially turning Earth's defensive sphere into a dimensional mirror. "We'll only get one shot at this," Sarah warned as her team made the necessary adjustments. "If we miscalculate, the dimensional feedback could tear apart both fleets." The stellar forge began to power up, its crystalline surface pulsing with otherworldly energies. Reality itself seemed to warp around it as it drew power from multiple dimensions simultaneously. On Earth's surface, millions looked up at skies that had begun to ripple like water. "Dr. Chen," Vexthor's voice came again, this time tinged with what might have been regret. "Your species has earned our respect with your defensive innovations. But the Stellar Kingdom cannot allow any civilization to possess technology that might threaten our dominance. The Forge will ensure Earth's compliance, one way or another." Sarah watched the power readings climb beyond anything their instruments could accurately measure. The Stellar Forge was pulling energy from thousands of parallel dimensions, building up to an attack that would fundamentally alter the fabric of their universe. But that was exactly what she had been counting on. "Now," she commanded as the Forge released its reality warping beam. The resonant shield activated its modified matrix at the precise moment the attack struck. Instead of trying to block or absorb the dimensional energy, it created a perfect quantum reflection. The laws of physics themselves seemed to hold their breath as the shield redirected the Forge's attack. The reality warping beam curved in an impossible arc, following the shield's quantum geometry. And then, in a moment that would be remembered for centuries, humanity turned the greatest weapon ever created against its makers. The Stellar Forge's own attack struck it like divine judgment. Dimensional energies meant to rewrite Earth's reality instead cascaded through the massive construct. For a brief moment, the Forge existed in all possible states simultaneously, and then in none of them. When the blinding light faded, the Forge was gone, along with a quarter of the Stellar Kingdom's fleet. The remaining ships hung motionless in space, their crews likely as stunned as the humans watching from Earth. In the silence that followed, Sarah checked the shield's status. The AI had already incorporated the dimensional manipulation principles it had learned from the Forge, adding yet another layer to Earth's defenses. Humanity hadn't just survived the ultimate weapon, they had evolved beyond it. "Admiral," she said quietly, "I think they might be ready to have that discussion about peaceful cooperation now." The real victory, Sarah knew, wasn't in destroying the Stellar Forge. It was in proving that humanity's approach to technology, focusing on defense, adaptation, and understanding rather than raw destructive power, might offer a better path forward for all species in the galaxy. The destruction of the Stellar Forge had shattered more than just the Stellar Kingdom's ultimate weapon. In the Earth Defense Command Center, Sarah Chen watched through long-range sensors as the alien fleet erupted into chaos. Ships were breaking formation, their quantum signatures suggesting intense internal communications. "They're arguing among themselves," Captain Torres reported, monitoring the intercepted transmissions. "The loss of the Forge has triggered some kind of political crisis. Multiple faction leaders are challenging Vexthor's authority." Admiral Wagner's cybernetic eye tracked the movement of individual ships as they realigned into smaller groups. "They've never failed before, have they? Their entire society is built on military superiority. We just showed the galaxy that their ultimate weapon could be defeated by a defensive system." Sarah nodded, still analyzing the data from their successful reflection of the Forge's attack. The shield's AI had incorporated the dimensional manipulation principles into its defensive matrix, opening up possibilities that made her head spin. "We could end this right now," she said quietly. "The shield understands their technology completely now. We could disable their entire fleet." But Wagner shook her head and proved them right about us being a threat. "No, we need to show them a different way." She turned to her communications officer. "Get me a channel to their flagship. All frequencies, full broadcast." The main screen flickered to life, showing the interior of the Stellar Kingdom's command ship. Grand Marshal Vex Thor's crystalline form had lost some of its luster, and behind him, other alien figures could be seen gesturing animatedly. "You wish to discuss terms of surrender?" he asked, his translated voice carrying an edge of bitterness. "No," Wagner replied calmly. "I wish to discuss partnership. Dr. Chen, would you demonstrate what we've learned?" Sarah stepped forward, activating a specialized display she had prepared. "Your stellar forge was a masterpiece of engineering," she began, causing several of the aliens to shift in what might have been surprise. The way it manipulated dimensional energies was brilliant, but it was fundamentally flawed because it focused only on destruction. She brought up a simulation showing how the shield had redirected the forge's attack. "We didn't just reflect your weapon. We understood it. And in understanding it, we found ways to use dimensional manipulation for something beyond warfare." The simulation shifted, showing how the same principles could be applied to create stable wormholes, clean energy sources, and even planetary shields that could protect against natural disasters. "This is what we offer, not surrender, not dominance, but collaboration. Humanity's defensive innovations combined with your advanced technology could transform the galaxy." One of the alien figures behind Vex Thor moved forward, a smaller being with more delicate crystalline patterns. "The human speaks wisdom. Grand Marshal, the forge's destruction is a sign. Perhaps the ancient prophecies about the shield makers were true." Vex Thor's geometric eyes shifted in complex patterns. "The prophecies are merely stories," Science Director Ixel. "Stories about a species that would master defensive arts beyond our understanding." "Who would?" He paused, his crystalline form dimming slightly. "Who would show us a path beyond endless conquest?" "We're not your prophesied saviors," Sarah said firmly. "We're just a species that chose to focus on protection rather than destruction. And now we're offering you the chance to do the same." The command center fell silent as Vex Thor conferred with his advisors. On the tactical display, the scattered alien ships had stopped their erratic movements, seemingly waiting for their leader's decision. Finally, Vex Thor turned back to the screen. "The Stellar Kingdom has stood for 10,000 years, built on the principle that superior firepower brings peace. But today, a young species with a simple shield has proven that principle false." His crystalline form brightened. "Perhaps it is time for our empire to evolve." "A wise choice," Wagner said. "Shall we begin with a demonstration? Dr. Chen has some fascinating ideas about how your dimensional technology could be modified to create a galaxy-wide defense network." But before Vex Thor could respond, alarms blared through both human and alien command centers. "Multiple quantum signatures detected," Torres called out. "Something's coming through subspace. Signatures match Stellar Kingdom design, but they're like nothing we've seen before." Sarah's hands flew across her console as new data poured in. "They're ships, but different. The quantum patterns suggest they're from another timeline, an alternate dimension where the Stellar Kingdom chose a different path." Vex Thor finished, his voice grim. "It seems our use of the forge has drawn attention from other realities. Realities where our empire became something far worse than what you face today." The tactical display filled with new contacts as massive ships emerged from dimensional rifts. These vessels weren't merely built for war. They were war, their very structure an affront to physics and reason. Sarah looked at Admiral Wagner, then at Vex Thor. "Well," she said with a hint of a smile, "I suppose this is a perfect opportunity to demonstrate how cooperation beats conquest. Shall we show these alternates what our combined technology can do?" As the dimensional invaders approached, humanity and the Stellar Kingdom prepared to face a threat neither had imagined possible. But now they would face it together, armed with something more powerful than any weapon. The understanding that true strength lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the choice to protect. The dimensional rifts surrounding Earth blazed with otherworldly energy as ships from the alternate Stellar Kingdom emerged. Twisted versions of the vessels humanity had faced before. Their quantum signatures resonated with pure aggression, their very existence an echo of choices made differently in another reality. In Earth Defense Command, Sarah Chen worked frantically alongside Science Director Ixel, their different physiologies creating an odd tableau as they merged their technological understanding. If we combine your dimensional stabilizers with our shield's adaptive matrix, Sarah explained, her fingers dancing across the quantum interface, we can create a barrier that exists across multiple realities simultaneously. Fascinating. Ixel's crystalline form shimmered with excitement. Your defensive innovations complement our offensive capabilities perfectly. Together, we cooled. A massive energy blast from the lead alternate dimension ship interrupted them, striking Earth's atmosphere with enough force to make the planet itself shudder. But this time, two defensive systems responded in concert. The resonant shield caught the attack while Stellar Kingdom graviton projectors reinforced it, creating layers of protection that spanned dimensions. Their weapons are more evolved than ours, Grand Marshal Vex Thor observed from his flagship, now positioned protectively above Earth's northern hemisphere. They represent what we might have become had we pursued power at any cost. Admiral Wagner's cybernetic eye tracked the enemy fleet's movements. Then let's show them what you chose to become instead. Dr. Chen, is the combined defense system ready? Sarah nodded, looking at the elegant fusion of human and Stellar Kingdom technology displayed before her. The shield's quantum eye had merged with the aliens' dimensional control systems, creating something entirely new. Ready. And it's more than just a defense system now. The alternate dimension fleet launched their full assault. Reality warping beams, temporal disruption torpedoes, and weapons that defied conventional physics all struck Earth's new defensive sphere simultaneously. The command center held its breath as the combined shield took its first real test. The result exceeded even Sarah's expectations. Instead of merely blocking the attacks, the shield transformed them. Enemy energy weapons were caught in quantum matrices that converted their destructive power into reinforcement for the barrier. Temporal weapons found their effects reversed, their attempts to accelerate time instead strengthening the present moment. Even dimensional weapons meant to tear space apart were absorbed and repurposed, their power feeding back into the shield's adaptive algorithms. Impossible. The voice that came from the alternate fleet's command ship was a twisted version of Vex Thor's, filled with rage and disbelief. No defense can stand against our perfect weapons. You still don't understand. Sarah broadcast back. Perfect weapons aren't the answer. Perfect protection is. She turned to Ixel and Vex Thor. Shall we show them what real power looks like? At her command, the combined shield expanded. It didn't just protect. It reached out, extending tendrils of quantum energy that touched each attacking ship. The alternate vessels found their weapon systems transformed, their destructive capability converted into protective fields. What have you done to our ships? The alternate Vex Thor demanded. We've given you what you never knew you needed, the real Vex Thor replied to his counterpart. A chance to evolve beyond the need for conquest. The alternate fleet hung motionless in space, their weapons transformed, their very purpose shifted by contact with the combined shield. In that moment, something unprecedented happened. The alternate crews began to experience what their counterparts had learned. That true strength lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the choice to protect. One by one, the alternate ships powered down their remaining offensive systems. Their quantum signatures began to shift, aligning more closely with their counterparts from this reality. The shield had not just defended against them, it had shown them a better path. In the weeks that followed, the Stellar Kingdom and Earth formalized their alliance. The combined shield technology became the foundation for a new galactic defense network, one that protected all worlds regardless of their technological level or political alignment. Sarah found herself working regularly with Ixel and other Stellar Kingdom scientists, combining their knowledge in ways that pushed the boundaries of what both species thought possible. The shield continued to evolve, not just learning from attacks, but actively preventing conflicts by showing aggressors the value of protection over destruction. You know, Sarah said to Admiral Wagner months later, watching a holographic display of the growing defense network, when I first designed the resonant shield, I never imagined it would do more than protect Earth. But by focusing on defense rather than offense, we didn't just save ourselves. We might have changed the course of galactic civilization. Wagner smiled, her cybernetic eye reflecting the shimmer of quantum fields that now connected thousands of worlds. Because sometimes the strongest weapon isn't a weapon at all. It's the power to show others a better way. Across the galaxy, the stories spread. Tales of the humans who had turned defense into an art form, who had proved that protection was mightier than destruction. The Stellar Kingdom's prophecies about the shield makers had been fulfilled, but not in the way anyone had expected. Earth hadn't just defended itself. It had shown the galaxy that true power lies not in the ability to take life, but in the commitment to preserve it. And in deep space, the resonant shield continued its quiet work, learning, adapting, and protecting. A testament to the day humanity proved that the ultimate weapon was no weapon at all.